Hi guys, welcome to the Strange Man channel. In this video I will tell interesting stories. What was the weirdest thing someone asked you to do during Story 1. It was Halloween and some friends and I decided to cross-dress as Charlie's Angels. I ordered a vintage 70 seconds tennis dress from eBay and bought a cheap wig. My girlfriend came over before the party and put makeup on me. After the party we went back to my apartment. She told me to stay dressed as a woman while we fooled around. I mentally shrugged and went with it. The next time she was over she requested that I put on the wig and tennis dress again. Not one to argue, I went with the flow. The next time she was over she arrived with shopping bags, women's clothing in my size and a much better quality wig. I sensed things were getting out of hand. I didn't particularly like dressing up as a woman, but it seemed to really arouse her. She would look at me and her face would glaze over in a look of lust. Soon it evolved to the only way we'd have was when I was dressed as a woman. Things came to an end when I emerged from the bathroom one evening and she was sporting a robust I declined and she got very angry. After all that, I got called a prude. Story 2. In college, I slept with a girl I had been friends with for a while as sort of a rebound after breaking up with my ex for cheating on me. In the middle of it she asks, how does it feel to know someone you loved and held at night was getting all this from someone else? With this sadistic grin on her face. Turns out she was saying this to get me mad, because she wanted to be choked, slapped, gagged, etc. All she had to do was ask, instead of breaking down any dignity I had. Edit, yes I'm fine now for everyone asking. This was about 3 years ago. We were already having sex when she said this, and I couldn't keep going after it was said. I had just began to get over my ex and this girl saying that brought it all back. I got up and left while she was trying to explain herself. She texted me the next day asking what was wrong and swore she never said any of that. Her friend, who was also a good friend of mine, had warned me long before that this girl was nuts, a compulsive liar, and would do things like see how many guys she could date at a time before they all found out. Story 3. She didn't ask this, but while in college, I was friends with a Japanese international student who introduced me to this girl who he was friends with, also Japanese. Anyway, long story short, I had sex with her in my friend's bathroom at his studio apartment at some odd hour in the night. She screamed a bunch of things in Japanese. Later my friend, who was pretending to be asleep, told me that she was screaming no, and don't rape me, in Japanese. And no I wasn't raping her and she spoke great English. She was just acting out a rape fantasy on her side that she didn't let me in on. Edit, alright, I should address this, again, since I keep getting replies on this. I keep getting asked wouldn't the friend come barging in as he would have believed it was rape. Here is my reply to another Redditor earlier to this question. No, hence the reason I brought up that she spoke great English, the way we've all communicated throughout the night. If it was really rape, or if she really wanted it to stop, she would have told me in English. He knows just as well as I do that she is perfectly capable of speaking English. Hell, if she really wanted our friend to barge in and stop it all because for some reason she forgot how to speak English while in the act, she could have screamed, "Help friend, come forth and stop this rape," in Japanese. Story 4. This isn't crazy weird, but I still want to share it here. Hope you enjoy. I had this friends with benefits thing going on with a guy that I had met about 3 months before we proceeded to actually do anything. Our kinks were a thing we talked openly about and kinda joked around with them, so I thought that he knew me well enough and vice versa for us to actually have sex and act upon the things we had discussed. It all started pretty well. He was being rough with me and I liked it. Then after a few minutes of foreplay and all that, he paused completely and asked me if I was alright. I appreciate being taken care of, but he was literally inside me, choking me, and then just stops to ask this when he could have just asked if my color was still green. Well, I nod and say that he can continue. Instead of doing so, he lets go of me and backs off of me. He seemed completely freaked out. I got up and asked if he was okay. He started telling me that he's sorry and that he's a bad person for hurting me. I made him sit down and he actually started crying, so I cuddled him and told him it's all good. Turns out he hadn't been this rough with anyone before and only did this because he really liked me and hoped that I'd like him back if he was able to do all the things I liked. We've been dating for 8 months now and he's the sweetest thing there is. Story 5. I was the requester. I dated a guy years ago that had an issue with Ed. Just couldn't keep it up or keep it going. Didn't bother me too much. I was his first and figured he might just really be stressed or something. We endeavored to find a way to maybe distract him a little bit while doing the deed to see what we could do. Well, Sir was the manager of a BK at the time, and in the heat of the moment one night I asked him to tell me how to make a Whopper. You see, there's a specific process that shan't be deviated from, and thus requires some thought and could be a good distraction. So here we are, in his bedroom, trying to squeeze 2 of us on a twin bed, and he tells me the end is gonna happen and also, like I say, tell me how to make a Whopper. Tell me, and my ever-obliging ex-beau started to tell me. all the while pumping and panting while telling me the order that the condiments went on. He came at the end of the explanation and we were both left pretty confused. Still love me a good Whopper, and at times it does bring some color to my cheeks if the mood is right. Story 6. An older, much older, married woman was coming on strong at a party. She followed me into the bathroom, immediately dropped her pants so I couldn't open the door. Without exposing her to a house full of people, started peeing while I was washing my hands, and then started pawing at my crotch. While she asked me if I wanted her to pee on me. We didn't have sex, so it didn't happen during sex, but she did happen to ruin cougars for me as a concept. Bonus points because her husband's best friend kicked the door in and started beating on me. So I was basically a for being a edit to explain some more things since this blew up. I'll address the more popular questions. I did not press charges. I was punched in the face about 4 times and barely even got my lip split. I didn't fight back, but I think the fact that he threw all he had at me and I was more or less unfazed sent a clear enough message that if I had fought back it wouldn't have gone his way. If I had been more seriously injured I would have, though. I didn't press charges against her either because from what I understand her husband went after her when he found out and ended up in jail. The husband wanted to come after me, but I guess the friend talked him out of it. Clearly their marriage was pretty screwed up before I came along. And for the last part I'm fine. At this point it's just one of those messed up stories you tell. It happened about 8 years ago and every one of those people have been out of my life since it happened. When I think about it now it just makes me sad for them. Honestly, they all have drinking problems, can't stay out of trouble for more than a month at a time and are working on their 2nd or 3rd marriages. I honestly hope they can figure things out, because they have pretty awesome kids that are just left to fend for themselves while the parents get loaded all weekend. Thanks for the concern and the well wishes though. It does honestly count for a lot. Story 7. Not me but a friend of mine. She, let's call her Liz, met a girl, let's call her Beth. Liz met Beth one night at a bar and they decided to take things back to Beth's place. Once things started to heat up, Beth asked Liz if she likes to experiment a bit. Liz said hell yeah and Beth excused herself to the bathroom. A few minutes goes by and Liz starts to hear some noise in the bathroom that sounded like scratching. She ignored it until she saw fingers stick out from under the door. She opens the bathroom and there's Beth wearing cat ears and a cat tail butt plug. She was clawing at the door, like a cat. Beth stayed in character despite Liz's confusion. Liz played along and treated Beth like a cat. Beth even had bowls and food ready. It escalated quickly to rough cat sex, including Beth making those angry cat sounds, hissing and scratching. Beth stayed in character until the next morning when they woke up. Butt plug, tail and all. My only wish is that it would have ended with a litter box and Liz having to clean up after her, but all stories can't be perfect. Story 8. I'd been in an ongoing relationship for a while. My girlfriend had an identical twin sister. I began to realize I found my GF sister to be more attractive to me. Personality-wise, obviously. I decided to end the relationship before I ended up doing something irresponsible that would get my girlfriend hurt. A few weeks after my breakup I run into my ex's twin while out running errands. She's cottoned on to why I left her sister and she's flirting heavily. Bad idea, I know. The whole reason I broke off the relationship was to avoid this. But I was a stupid 17-year-old so I flirted back. Things progress rapidly and soon I get a call. My ex is out of town, the twin has the place to herself and wants me to come over. Again, 17. I was there so fast I'm lucky I didn't get a speeding ticket. We're getting heavy from the moment I get in the door, but she has a special request. She wants me to call her by her sister's name, she wants to do it in her sister's room, and she wants me to get incredibly violent. She even protests when I say what about a safe word, by saying I don't want her to have any way out. Lots and lots of red flags, right? All of which my stupid 17-year-old ignored. This went on for a little while as a purely relationship until I moved out of state. It wasn't until I was in my mid-20s that I was able to look back and realize, hang on, that was kind of up beyond all reason. Well guys, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye everyone.